Welcome, C9 followers, the podcast and business page. You're tuning in to the deep dive, and I'm Lex.
And I'm Vera, joining you from the C9 podcast show.
Today, we're embarking on a really crucial deep dive. This is aimed squarely at Australian business owners and C-level executives. Our mission is to unpack a really comprehensive guide we've been looking at on how to choose a custom software development partner in Australia. Think of it as a shortcut to getting exceptionally well informed.
Yeah, and what's genuinely fascinating about this guide, I think, is that it doesn't just, throw suggestions out there. It gives a structured 5-step methodology. So our goal today is really to pull out the most important nuggets of insight. We want to help you navigate what can be a pretty complex landscape, avoid some common pitfalls, and ultimately make sure your investment drives real, measurable value for your Australian business.
Okay, let's unpack this then. In Australia's market right now, it's so fast-paced, so competitive, custom software. It isn't just a tech upgrade anymore, is it? It feels more like a strategic imperative, a weapon almost.
Absolutely.
But here's the kicker, the million-dollar question. How do you pick the right partner? How do you avoid ending up with a budget-busting project that just flops? Or maybe even worse, adds more problems than it solves?
Exactly. And the guide frames this perfectly. It positions custom software not just as some kind of technological expense, but as a really critical strategic investment.
Right.
An investment for gaining that competitive edge, seriously boosting efficiency, and importantly, accelerating revenue growth. This really isn't just about lines of code, it's about fundamental business transformation.
Okay, so dig into that a bit more. Why is choosing the right custom software partner so critical right now, specifically for Australian businesses? What's really at stake if executives get this wrong?
Well, the stakes are incredibly high. Look at the numbers. The Australian custom software development market. It's projected to expand at a compound annual growth rate, a GR of, a staggering 25.1% between 2025 and 2030.
Wow, 25%.
Yeah, it's huge. And this isn't just, standard growth. It's being fueled by these intense demands for things like AI integration, really robust cybersecurity solutions, and cloud-native applications. These aren't just buzzwords anymore. They represent the future, really. The future of agile, scalable, and secure operations.
So everyone's jumping in.
Well, we're seeing over 60% of Australian SMEs planning to invest in tailored solutions just this year. So yeah, the market's growing fast, but it's also getting much more discerning.
That sounds like a fundamental shift then. It suggests the old approach, set it and forget it, or just relying on generic off-the-shelf stuff that just isn't cutting it anymore.
Precisely. So many businesses are kind of hobbled by these outdated legacy systems or generic software. And these often fail because they're designed for the masses, right? Not for your specific challenges, your unique business needs.
And you can quantify that failure.
Yeah, the numbers tell a pretty stark story. Australian businesses, on average, are losing something like 15–20% in efficiency every single year, just due to these legacy systems. Think about that productivity drain, the missed opportunities. It adds up.
And the cost of getting the partner selection wrong. I've heard some, frankly alarming statistics about project failures there.
You're right to be wary. The financial side of poor partner selection is a major, major pitfall. The guide suggests up to 70% of software initiatives unfortunately overrun their budgets.
70%.
It's huge. And it's not just frustrating, right? It means sinking typical Melbourne custom software costs could be anywhere from AUD $30,000 to maybe $250,000 into projects that might just deliver, clunky integrations.
Meaning systems that don't talk to each other.
Exactly, or require endless manual workarounds. And then those revisions alone can balloon expenses by another 20–50%, often after the initial budget's already gone. Yeah. So this raises a really important question for you, our listener. How can you avoid these costly mistakes? How can you actually harness the power of precision in your software investment? Thankfully, the guide we're looking at offers a clear, actionable roadmap.
That's a powerful wake-up call. Really highlights the strategic importance.
So if you're an executive listening, maybe feeling that pressure to make the right call, what's the absolute first foundational step the guide emphasizes? Why is it so critical, yet apparently so often overlooked?
Okay, the absolute first step, the foundation, is conducting a rigorous self-assessment. Don't think of this as just another task. Think of it as the crucible where you forge clarity.
Right.
The guide highlights that a staggering 40% of software projects fail to meet their objectives. Why? precisely because executives bypass this foundational step.
Yeah.
They jump straight to solutions.
And the risk there is.
You risk attracting generic proposals. You risk wasting precious budget on features that don't actually address your real pain points. So it's about really looking inward first, understanding your business deeply before you even think about the technology. What does that internal audit actually involve in practical terms?
It means mapping out the specific triggers that are impacting your business right now. Are high operational costs eating into your margins? Is outdated tech actively hindering your ability to scale? You need to ask some sharp questions,
Right.
like where are the bottlenecks in your processes? What's choking productivity? How are data silos preventing clear, timely decision-making? The guide gives a really concrete example. In retail, poor inventory management. That can cost firms up to AUD $100,000 annually, just in lost sales.
Wow.
Yeah, imagine that. Perishable goods spoiling, shelves empty when customers want to buy, hours spent on manual counts. That's real money just draining away, not some theoretical inefficiency.
And should executives be thinking about specific types of technology during this phase? What should they perhaps be aiming for?
Absolutely. The guide suggests considering how modern solutions, like, say, AI-driven analytics or maybe low-code platforms, could specifically address those pain points you've identified.
Okay.
For executives, understanding that AI is expected to automate something like 40% of workflows in Australian tech, that's not just a fun fact. It means these tools can dramatically speed up development, let your business users contribute more directly.
And the benefit of doing this homework up front.
Oh, it's profound. Well-defined requirements reduce project risks by around 30%. They eliminate those generic, useless proposals. They ensure solutions align directly with your strategic goals and potentially cut costs by up to 25% and significantly boost revenues. It's all about precision driving profit.
That makes incredible sense. It sounds like one of those counterintuitive steps that actually speeds things up in the long run. Okay, so with your internal needs clearly mapped out, the next logical question is, where do you actually find the right partner? And here, our insights take a specific local turn for Australian businesses.
Precisely. The objective now shifts to identifying and crucially thoroughly vetting potential local custom software development firms. The guide strongly recommends focusing on local Australian firms, primarily for two critical strategic reasons.
Which are?
First, compliance. It ensures you meet the tightening Australian data sovereignty laws. These basically say sensitive data must be stored and processed within Australia's borders. That directly impacts your compliance, your customer trust, everything.
Okay, compliance. What's the second reason?
Security. It directly addresses the rising tide of cybersecurity threats. These are costing Australian businesses a staggering AUD $29 billion yearly. A local focus isn't just about convenience. It fosters cultural fit, better communication, a shared understanding of the Australian business landscape.
So it's much more than just proximity. It's really strategic for legal, security, and even cultural alignment. What kind of due diligence should executives be doing on these local firms then?
Good question. You should definitely review their portfolios. Look for proven track records, case studies, specifically experience in your sector. Check testimonials from other execs. Look for important certifications like ISO 27001 for security. That's pretty much non-negotiable today.
Right.
And maybe note any innovation awards. You can even use tools like LinkedIn to research client loyalty rates. The guide suggests aiming for partners with, say, 80% or higher client retention. That speaks volumes about their ongoing value and relationships.
And the dangers if you skimp on this, if you think, I can save time here.
Well, ignoring their specific industry expertise can lead to mismatched tech stacks. That means clunky, inefficient systems that don't integrate properly. And not verifying credentials, that can lead to just plain subpar deliverables.
Like?
Imagine investing heavily, only to have your shiny new software crash under the weight of actual growth. The guide mentions 25% of failed projects suffer exactly that fate. Mismatches in expertise or scope can easily inflate costs by as much as 50%, turning what should be a strategic asset into a huge expensive liability.
Okay, so we've talked about defining needs, vetting partners, but there's a crucial interaction point, one that's often overlooked, apparently, but can make or break a project before development even starts. The guide calls it the discovery call. Why is skipping this seen as, well, potentially catastrophic?
Yeah, catastrophic isn't too strong a word, actually. Think of discovery calls not just as a checkbox, but as the crucible where a true partnership actually begins. The guide calls them the linchpin of successful software projects.
The linchpin.
Exactly. They offer this structured dialogue to align visions and, critically, mitigate risks before they become expensive problems. Skipping them It almost invariably leads to widespread scope creep.
Because the requirements aren't clear.
Precisely. Without that clear understanding, requirements stay fuzzy, undefined. And that causes budget inflations. Up to 50% is what the guide suggests. Imagine committing to an AUD $100,000 app only to discover halfway through that it doesn't integrate with your existing CRM because nobody asked the right questions up front.
Oof, yeah. Wasted time, wasted money.
And a huge blow to your strategic goals. It's just disastrous.
So that's the downside of skipping it. What are the upsides, the tangible benefits of actually taking the time for this focused conversation?
Well, the guide outlines 7 key benefits, really transforming the discovery call into a strategic asset. These calls provide crystal clear needs understanding. They help optimize resources, potentially saving 20–30% on overall costs.
Okay.
They ensure robust stakeholder alignment, getting everyone on the same page. They significantly reduce risks, cutting potential overruns by as much as 40%. They also lead to improved planning, genuinely enhanced collaboration, and often a faster time to market because all those assumptions get ironed out right at the start.
Is there a typical structure?
Yeah, typically it involves maybe an initial alignment phase, 10–15 minutes, then a deeper dive into the specifics, maybe 20–30 minutes. And finally, what the guide calls value mapping for about 10 minutes. It's that structure that helps prevent those dangerous assumptions that cause projects to flop.
Okay, makes sense. Now, beyond just checking their track record, how do you really assess a partner's technical chops? And maybe more subtly, their working style. How do you know if you'll actually work well together?
Good point. The objective here is definitely twofold. Assess their technical capabilities and their collaborative working style. You absolutely need to probe their technical stack.
Meaning?
Do they offer cloud-native development? That means building software designed from the ground up to be flexible, scalable, cost-efficient by really leveraging cloud infrastructure. This is vital. The stats show 70% of Australian firms are adopting hybrid clouds for scalability by 2025.
Right, so future-proofing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then there's the compatibility piece. Do they collaborate iteratively? Do they invite your input, adapt, or do they tend to sort of dictate solutions? That cultural fit is incredibly important for project success. It can make or break the day-to-day reality of the project.
Is there a practical way for executives to actually test them out, to get a real feel for that collaboration before committing to a massive project?
Yes. And this is brilliant, though often skipped. The guide suggests a tryout process.
A tryout, like a pilot.
Sort of. It could be a small, clearly defined micro project, maybe a proof of concept for a specific AI integration that, say, could boost your decision-making by 35%. This tryout reveals so much more than interviews. It shows their real technical skill, yes, but also their communication style, their problem-solving approach, how well their team actually meshes with yours.
Invaluable insights.
Totally. Insights that lengthy proposals or interviews simply can't capture. And remember the pitfalls of mismatched expertise. Insecure systems, think about those AUD $29 billion in cyber threats annually here, or just cultural clashes that stall projects indefinitely and burn through budget. You want a partner whose experts deliver high-end, secure solutions and foster loyalty through ongoing support, not just disappear after launch.
Now let's talk money. For many of our listeners, navigating pricing models probably feels like a real minefield. What does this strategic framework advise for cutting through that complexity? How do you ensure you get a precise, fair quote?
Yeah, this is a critical point where, frankly, many projects go completely awry. The guide draws a really sharp distinction here. It highlights the dangers of what it calls indicative pricing.
Indicative pricing, meaning?
These are essentially rough estimates, guesses, really, given without a thorough discovery process based on minimal information. They almost always ignore the project nuances, the complexities.
And that leads to?
Scope creep. Almost guaranteed, and budget overruns of 20–50%. These indicative quotes are often just rounded numbers, like AUD $10,000 per week. It fosters mistrust because they rarely reflect the true effort involved. For instance, an indicative quote of, say, AUD $50,000, $70,000 for an inventory app might completely miss an extra AUD $20,000 needed for crucial integrations that only surface later. That's just a recipe for budget blowouts and broken trust.
Okay, so if indicative pricing is the danger zone, what's the better, more reliable alternative that executives should absolutely insist upon?
You should absolutely insist on discovery-based pricing. This model offers, as the guide puts it, post-call precision to the nearest hour.
To the hour.
Yes. It results in accurate, often fixed quotes because it uncovers all those complexities and specific requirements during that vital discovery call we talked about.
Okay.
The guide also strongly advocates for staging projects, breaking them down into smaller, manageable phases. This allows for early ROI.
Can you give me an example?
Sure, a retail database project. It might be precisely quoted as, say, 120 hours for the core build, plus another 40 hours for a really robust reporting module. That totals a fixed AUD $20,000. Staging allows you to get that core build live quickly, maybe recoup 20% of your investment in just a few months from the efficiencies gained. That significantly minimizes financial risk and lets you reinvest those early successes.
Right. Quick wins build momentum and confidence. Okay. So you've gone through this whole process. You've chosen your partner. You've got your precise discovery-based pricing. What's the final crucial step to formalize this relationship and really ensure long-term success? What needs to be in that agreement?
Okay, the final step is formalizing the partnership with robust agreements. Agreements build for long-term success, not just the initial build. You absolutely must include service-level agreements, SLAs.
SLAs. Covering what?
Critical factors like uptime, 99.9% uptime is pretty standard now, clear security protocols, defined support response times what happens if something goes wrong. Equally important, make sure scalability clauses are firmly in place.
To handle future growth.
Exactly. To accommodate your future growth, especially given those market projections we mentioned for 2025 and beyond, you want a contract that evolves with your business, not one that locks you into outdated terms or leaves you exposed when you expand.
And the pitfalls of neglecting these details in the final agreement. Skimming over the fine print.
Oh, weak agreements are such a common mistake. They lead to significant uncertainty down the road, undefined roles, unclear responsibilities, and ultimately sometimes even abandoned projects because the framework wasn't there.
Imagine a critical system going down with no clear guarantee of when it'll be fixed.
Nightmare scenario. Or your business expanding rapidly only to find your software can't keep up because scalability wasn't properly addressed in the contract. A strong contract, one that emphasizes long-term collaboration for continuous innovation. That's what this guide promotes for a true, enduring partnership.
That was a really comprehensive walkthrough. So bringing it all together, for the Australian executives listening who follow this strategic guide, what's the overall value proposition? What does all this careful planning and selection mean for their bottom line, their strategic future?
Well, to recap, engaging the right custom software partner, using this kind of step-by-step process, it really transforms challenges into profound opportunities. It helps you sidestep those costly, demoralizing project flops.
Right.
It demonstrably reduces overall project costs potentially up to 25% through things like streamlined integrations and avoiding rework. It helps boost revenues through enhanced customer experiences or operational efficiencies. And ultimately, it achieves substantial, measurable ROI.
And this isn't just a small niche.
Not at all. The global custom software market is projected to hit something like USD $316.64 billion by 2034, and strategic Australian investments are a key driver in that global growth. So this is about more than just buying some software. It's genuinely about investing in your business's future resilience and its competitive edge in a rapidly changing market.
It's a huge potential for impact. So for you, our driven executive listener, what's that final thought we want to leave you with? Something to maybe mull over after this deep dive.
For you, the driven executive listening right now, maybe consider this. What hidden inefficiencies are you tolerating today? Things you perhaps accept as just the way things are. What if a well-chosen custom software partner could transform those very inefficiencies into your next decisive competitive advantage? It's really not just about the technology. It's about unlocking your business's full, currently untapped potential.
That's a powerful thought to end on. This has been a truly insightful deep dive into choosing the right custom software partner here in Australia. Thank you for walking us through this critical framework.
It's been a pleasure. We've covered a lot of essential ground, haven't we? From the strategic imperative for Australian businesses right through to the critical steps. Defining your needs, thorough research, the real power of discovery calls, insisting on that precise pricing, and finally, securing long-term success with robust contracts.
So if you're an Australian business owner or a C-level executive listening, and you're ready to overcome that uncertainty, ready to harness custom software to really drive your success, the guide we've discussed today points to a very clear next step. It's about putting these insights into action.
Absolutely. Take that step towards unlocking your potential and transforming your business. Visit www.c9.com.au. That's c9.com/tightcom c9australia.com/au. Learn more about C9 Australia's leading custom software, apps, integration, and database developer company.
And please don't forget to click that follow button wherever you get your deep dives. That way you won't miss future insights that could genuinely impact your business strategy.
Yes, and please do share this deep dive with anyone in your network, colleagues, peers, who you think could benefit from this knowledge. It really could be the catalyst for their next big strategic move.
From Lex.
And Vera.
This has been The Deep Dive. See you next time.